morning, homesteaders. It's Len from Halfway Homestead. It is Tuesday, September 18th. This is episode 2 of the, I don't know what we're going to call this. If you got suggestions, I need some suggestions in the bottom there. Give me some comments. What do we call this thing that I'm going to do? You know, this 15-minute video log thing. I need a catchy name. All right, that's aside. Episode 2 of the thing that we're going to name later. So today I want to talk about community and building community, building intentional community. What does that mean? Why do we want to do it? And what can it look like when you've done it? So, most of you guys know that almost 2 years ago, 2 weeks it'll be the 2-year anniversary, my beautiful bride Carissa and I moved away from the city, from our, my 8-minute commute that I had, and we moved out to the country, an hour and a half away, and I still have that commute now. But we have a beautiful farm out there now that we are building and trying to create a regenerative agricultural type farm homestead. That said, one of our big things that we decided when we were getting ready to move and we were talking about this transition and what does it look like, is that at the time we lived in a townhouse. In our little tiny townhouse development, it was very tiny, mind you, there was like 130 units in this basically U-shaped development. You came in one side, you went out the other side. Both sides of the road were just lined with townhouses. We lived there for 4 years, and we are outdoor people, so we'd sit on the front porch and so forth. And in 4 years, we got to truly know that where we would call someone a friend, 3 houses there. Now, we got together and we sponsored a community barbecue then, where we put up flyers all over the neighborhood, and we had a community area, and we invited folks out. We were knocking on doors and saying, hey, come on out. And while we did have 20 to 30 households show up, which is huge, it was a one-time event where when we tried to get it going a second time, we were looking for some other people other than the same three families to coordinate it and be part of it, and there was nothing. And so over 4 years, we ended up being friends with about 3 households there. And so as we talked about our transition, we're moving someplace we don't know anybody. We literally had 0 friends, 0 contacts. We knew nothing about this town or the people in it. And we said, we have to be intentional. We have to build community. We want to be there for others, and we will want to know that if we need someone there to be there for us, they will be there, right? And so that comes from being authentic and truly caring about the person beside you, even when you don't know them. I mean, we hadn't moved to the city or to the country yet. We didn't know what our neighbors were going to be like. We didn't know if it was going to be like the Hatfields and McCoys, or if we were going to be the city slickers who, they're coming and ruining our country. And, we didn't know what we were going to have, yet we were intentional before we ever signed on the mortgage that we were going to be good neighbors and we were going to create good community. Okay, so that was a point of fact that this was one of our driving factors. There was a lot of reasons for that, and we'll touch on those as we do more of these videos. But the one I will point out today was that we were trying to build, and we are trying to build, a sustainable, regenerative lifestyle. You cannot do that alone. You can have all the money in the world and throw it at a piece of land, and you can build amazing things, but you can't do it alone. And so we know that. And so, for example, even with our large garden and our different animals and stuff that we have, we can't produce everything that we need. So having community of like-minded people can help you to support each other and fill in the gaps. So that was kind of, like an aside, but one of the main reasons why was we want to have a sustainable regenerative homestead. So that said, what does it look like in practicality, right? That was all talk. We hadn't signed a mortgage. We didn't even find a place yet. So what does it really look like? Well, we got here and we started searching for a church out this way, and kind of ran the gambit of churches in the area, and really were unhappy and disappointed, and we kind of felt like we didn't have a home there. And so this crazy thing happened. We got invited to Thanksgiving dinner literally right after we moved in. We signed in October, and some friends that in the area that we had just kind of met invited us to their home for Thanksgiving. So we're brand new to the area, and we were told, hey, come on, you don't need to bring anything, just bring your family and let us love on you and share, our blessings with you. And we were floored by that, and we said yes. And so we show up to this thing, and we got to meet like 3 new families that were also there that we did not know at all before. And one of those families, through the course of dinner and talk afterwards and socializing that was going on, we started talking about churches in the area, and we'd all had tried the same churches and had similar results. Probably because we all believed very similar things in terms of our faith. And one of the couples spoke up and said, hey, there's this new church. They really kind of focus towards the college age, young adults. I'm old enough to call them kids because my kids are that old. But they, and it's pretty awesome. You should check it out. Well, I was kind of turned off and I was being cynical, and I'm like, yeah, all right, cool, thanks. No. I've tried enough new churches lately, and nothing felt good. But my oldest son, he was talking about looking for a church to go, and I was like, you should go try this one. It's your demographic. That's who they're targeted to. Go check it out. So he did. And he came back home. He's like, Dad, you'd love this. And I was like, So the next Sunday we got up and we went. And that started, that's what we call home now, is that church. And if you want to check it out, you can find them on Facebook, Canvas Church of Winchester. We've got a podcast, a sermon, stuff like that. It's a small church. We are still growing. We're only in our 3rd year. But that said, we immediately started, we felt plugged in, we felt welcomed, and we immediately started to invite people into our world and into our home and into our life and share our story. And we did that consistently. And to this day, we still do that. So we would host people for dinner once, twice a month. Sometimes more often than that. And this is where I should say, all I do is talk to people. Carissa she's by far makes it happen. I say things like, hey, Guy, nice to meet you. Come to our house. Let us feed you. Let's get to know each other. And my wife is like, he just invited more people. I got to figure out how to make the house look presentable and so forth. And she's amazing at it. And she really wants to serve others and so forth. And I kind of talk us into a lot of scenarios, and I should probably ask her first. But nonetheless, never fails. She shows up big time, and she shows them the love that we have for folks, and it's amazing. And so, you know, and usually during the course of dinner or whatever, you know, as we get to know people, the conversation comes up of, why do you invite all these people into your house? What kind of weirdo are you? You know, you got freezers full of bodies in the basement or something, like, what's going on? And it always comes back to the same conversation about community and building community, and that we want to know people, and we want them to know us, and we want to just have this incredibly diverse and beneficial community where the folks in it really truly care about each other because they know each other. Where the couples are supportive of each other, the individual men are supportive to each other, the individual women are supportive to each other, where we can lean on each other in times of need, and we can love on each other and times of bounty. And so that was, you know, like, intentionally the plan for the last couple of years. And what's interesting about this is that we don't think about it anymore. Like, we don't go, we need more community, let's go find someone and invite them to dinner. It just happens. And we've never really known if we were making the impact on others that, like, we weren't getting. You don't go back and ask people afterwards, like, hey, did you like coming to my house? Because that makes you creepy. Don't do that. So what we found was that, like, we didn't really have any feedback, but what we did have is that people would invite us into their lives, and that we've gotten to know some really amazing people that we are very proud to call friends now. And so what brings us to today's topic. So last night, and I'm going to preface this by saying, a lot of times, as you get to know me, if you watch my stuff and so forth, there will be times where I come across or I say things that could be construed as being, I don't know, overly confident is probably a good word. Sometimes I probably am. In this space, about what I'm getting ready to say, that's not at all where I'm coming from. We were just incredibly blessed and honored last night, and it really struck me, and it continues to strike me now, that we are on the right path. So last night, our church, our pastor and his wife, they do this amazing thing called it's a rock star banquet, is what they call it. All the volunteers at the church, they call them rock stars. And so once a year, they put on this banquet for the rock stars that they put together themselves, and they honor those who have served selflessly throughout the year. And so, and it's a fun time, and there's a lot of goofy awards, and, you know, like the award for most likely to be late, or it reminded me of here's a quick aside, I'll hurry up, you guys gotta listen faster. And it said, or like years ago, I got an award at a goofy work function for the guy, this is 20 years ago, mind you, for the employee most likely to call in with the best excuse for being late. And the example was given, again, it's probably 20 plus years ago. I was a kid, and, you know, kids do dumb stuff. I don't recommend this. I actually had the nerve to say to my boss that, in a construction job no less, that I had bought new boots the night before, which was true, and I had forgot to lace them all the way up before I left for the before the morning, and so I had to lace from scratch these big, you know, over the ankle boots, and so that's why I was late to work. Yeah, don't do that. That's horrible. I just can't even imagine what he was thinking. So goofy awards like that, right, where you make light of the weird things that make us human. And So, and then there's also some more like intimate kind of sincere things. And our community that we've been working so hard recognized us last night as doing just that. As literally, they basically put into words the very thing that we've been trying to do for the last 2 years, and recognized the effort there. And it was absolutely incredible and meaningful. It was a little bit of affirmation for people who don't really look for affirmation. As a general rule, we don't do that. At least we don't think we do. I'm finding as I get older that I have to question more and more about my own motives, and I learned some things. But it was kind of some affirmation that, look, what you're doing for other people is amazing, and we love you, and we're grateful for you. And that kind of fed us back, and we were just floored last night. So we're at the over 15 minutes. I try to keep these things to 15 minutes. Be intentional. Build some community around yourself. Meet people. Go say hi to your neighbor. Open up the door. Walk down the stairs. Walk 15 feet over to the townhouse next to you. Walk up the 6 stairs. Bang on the door and go, "Hi, I'm Len. I know this sounds weird because nobody talks to each other anymore in person, but I got some extra squash and some onions and some steaks on the grill. You want to come eat something? Do that. And then share who you are. And it doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter what your background is. None of that is relevant at all. Build intentional community. Find folks that are willing to invest in you because you've been willing to invest in them. And then just go do amazing things together. It's nuts. The proof of that is this. And I could give examples for an hour. I could sit here and talk about examples in the last year. But I talk about it all the time. I have a long commute. My car broke down in the middle of my 70-plus mile commute. I'm 35-plus miles in each direction from where I need to be, and I'm in the middle of nowhere. And I just put up a picture up on Facebook, and I'm like, well, this sucks, and this is a great way to start your day. And I had just a whole rack of people blow up, go, hey brother, do you need something? Can I come get you? Do you have, are you taken care of? Are you okay? What do you need? How can I help? It's amazing. And I was fine, but the idea that was there was so just fulfilling for me. So go build community. Be intentional. So as always, check out our links below. If you like what we're doing and you want to support it in some way, we've got our Amazon affiliate link. We really would appreciate if you do your Amazon shopping through there. It costs you nothing, and it makes a big difference in our lives. You can support us via Patreon, obviously.